So, Coach, talk about your win over the weekend.
Oh, we're at championships, 37 universities, Division 1, 2, and 3, Oregon, all the way to Arizona, Colorado. Big weekend, 2 days of racing. It's a lot like a track meet. So we didn't necessarily win any races per se. Like in first place, we did medal in a few events, but I think the key to winning the team points trophy, of course, with 3 and 4 heats of 7 lanes across is if you matriculate to the grand finals, that's pretty big. And we matriculated grand finals, I think in every event we entered but 3. So I think in that regard, to win the team points 2 years in a row, again, we're the only Division II name on the trophy, so I think that's always a big deal for us, especially when you're competing against some of those really remarkable D1 schools.
And then what's next for rowing?
We will head to Dad Vales in Philadelphia in 2 weeks, so our team will fly out on Wednesday of next week, and it concurs with graduation. So we often refer to it as the inverse power curve, just with exams happening while we're on the road. It's a pretty big event. Almost all the Division II schools in the nation, maybe with the exception of Western Washington, will be there. And for us, this is fairly important in the preliminary rounds of WERAs in the women's varsity 8, which is one of the big D2 events that gets you into the national championship. We rode into a flock of geese, and we hit 1, we hit 2, we hit 3. Two of the ladies stopped rowing in the boat, and we didn't matriculate to grand finals, and that really hurt us. So we lost about 5 seconds. Not saying that we would have beaten Western Washington, but we would have been in the ballpark range to have an idea of where we ranked before we went into Vales. And since they're not going to be there, unless there's a compelling argument for our general relative speed increasing, and we do have a couple of kids coming back from concussions that will be back in the rotation, it'll be really challenging to prove that when they're not there. So schools out of the West region that'll be going: UCSD, Seattle Pacific, University of Central Oklahoma, as well as all of the Division II schools on the eastern seaboard all the way down to Florida. So it's a big event. They run on 7-minute center, so races are concurrently on the course at the same time. It's a remarkable experience.
So what do you expect at Dad Vale?
I think I think we always use Dad Vales as our end of the season marker. This is the regatta that you go to for at large bids into the national championship, and this is where Humboldt has traditionally gotten most of their bids to go to national championship as late season results, anticipating the build as it comes at the end of the season. We know the South region is really fast. At their Sunshine State Championships, FIT and Barry, top 2 schools out of the South region, finished respectively 644.4 and 644.5. There was a bird in that race too, so it's they had a little bit of a tailwind. The water's a little bit warmer, and so we think that there's going to be a lot of 650 crews that are going to be at Vales, and we pulled a 658 in the petite final this weekend. We're still working on improving our speed, so I'm not going to say that it's impossible that we could possibly vie for an at-large 8. West region, generally the WERA Championships decides who goes out of the West, and University of Central Oklahoma won in the 8, Western Washington won in the 4, and then they traded Western, UCO won in the 8, and Western won in the 4, and so there's a good chance that both of those teams could come out of the West, one as the team berth and one as the at-large, which leaves 2 spots that are open for 8s. So I think, if you look at whatever school in the South, UCSD, SPU, Humboldt State, I think it could be any of those. It could be a school that comes out of the East, Jefferson or Mercyhurst. They're all, everybody's pretty much on the bubble right now. So it plays an important role you know, it's a big time difference, so I think some of the first races start at 7 o'clock in the morning, 3 hours ahead of where we are already. So so we're doing a little heat training. We're getting up earlier, you know, probably starting on Saturday an hour earlier every day, and we already start at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we'll be doing a lot of studying in the morning just to try to make that time change before we go. So I think, you know, our goal would be if to be considered to an at-large berth for national championships. That's what we're gunning for.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?